Welcome into the Davis Football Show, everyone. My name is Nick Davis, and we're here with my brother Rob in the Davis Studios. Thank you so much for listening today. We are going to be covering all things football for you sports fans. This is the DFF. Thank you, everybody, again for tuning in and listening to us today. We are about to get our episode underway, and we have a lot of topics to cover. It's a little difficult these days, Rob, trying to find some topics and things to discuss without games being played. Ain't that right?
Yeah, it's not a lot of things going on in the NFL right now. So,
especially right now after free agency and the draft, it's a little difficult, but we're making do with what we got. So, real quick, I just want to jump into Dak Prescott. We're not actually going to cover it entirely, but he did sign his franchise tender today, so he will be playing this season on a $31.5 million salary, which is quite a bit of chunk of money.
I mean, yeah, it's a lot of money, but he was asking for more in his contract, so he's taking a little bit of a pay cut than what he wanted to get, but I mean, it's still a lot of money.
A little prove yourself deal. He's I'm sure he's been feeling like he's been having to prove himself for quite some time now.
Oh yeah, I mean, he proved himself enough, but I think he's deserved around $35 million per year, $35 to $32 million per year. But I mean, the Cowboys is gonna wait. I feel they're gonna end up having to pay him more next offseason.
Yeah, we'll see. It definitely will go up, especially once some of these other boys go ahead and close, like Mahomes and Watson, and it'll be pretty interesting here. But let's see. I want to kick off the show today talking about COVID and the virus, and what is the NFL going to look like here in this season in 2020? The recommendation of most recent has been to eliminate private workouts. Like many of us who are trying to get out there and stay in shape, NFL players are no different. So not only are they lifting weights, but they're out there going over plays and, just trying to get ahead of the game in an off season where they really are not able to utilize the facilities and be able to meet as often and frequently as they would like within the structure of the team. Now, we know a lot of them are meeting up outside of the team's structure and guidance, and just to continue to build on that chemistry, and they're being told that the recommendation is to avoid that. What are your thoughts on that, Rob?
I mean, yeah, like the smart thing to do would be to avoid it because, trying to keep everyone safe. But if they can't stop everyone from doing it, and then, if you got some teams still practicing and training, then some teams is not, it's a disadvantage going into the season. So I feel like even if you don't feel safe training and work it out, I feel like a lot of people are still doing it, just to keep up.
Yeah, for sure. And it's not limited to one team or one area. I mean, across the country, it looks like that these boys are trying to get ahead. And I just heard recently that Khalil Mack is working out harder than he ever has, and he has a proven year underway in the making, and it really seems like there's a new fire and energy about him, which I'm excited about being a Bears fan. Have you heard anything like that, Rob?
Yeah, I mean, about Khalil Mack?
Or at anyone in particular, like them working out outside of, the structure. Like Tom Brady is walking into people's houses trying to find his teammates. I mean.
Oh, yeah, everyone's working out. I know Antonio Brown is still working out with Lamar Jackson and Hollywood Brown, RG3s. He was working out with the new Ravens receivers that just got drafted this year. So I feel like every team's still, working out together pretty much.
And people are saying your boy Big Ben are in the best shape he's ever been, and I don't know if I believe all that, but that's what is being said.
I don't know about that one, but I mean, he's not always in the best shape, even though he still plays good. So I mean, it's not that hard to be in the best shape he ever been in.
So the NFL has said that they're looking into the possibility of creating a bubble scenario, like the NBA has mentioned and is planning on doing in Orlando. I mean, in my opinion, and I know I'm not the only one that feels that way. I'm not the minority here. It's impossible to do that in the NFL, right?
Oh yeah, that'll never happen in the NFL. They cannot make that work.
Yeah, it's just too difficult with where the games need to be played. The amount that goes into an NFL game is significantly more intense than a basketball game. I mean, you're talking a team that's essentially 5 times the size of a basketball team, and yeah, I mean that's just one side. As one of the two teams playing, there's no way you can put thousands of people in a community to over a number of months to play a season.
Yeah, each team, and players and staff, all that, probably at least 100 people. So all 30 teams, that's 3,000 people. If that's not counting like the refs and the media and everyone that gotta help to get like the field and like the game ready. So I don't even know where they would do it, because in Florida, that's the NBA is going to be in Florida in Disney World. So I don't know where they'll be able to do that.
Yeah, it just seems absolutely impossible to go about a season like that. Now, once they get to the postseason and they get into playoff games, maybe grabbing those 8 teams or 10 teams now, or for 14 teams to into a bubble. But I still feel like that is just too large. The teams are too large, and the support for these teams are too large. It's more than one coach on a team. I mean, a team has upwards of 15, 18 coaches on the field. So it's just too large of an operation to make happen, I believe.
Yeah, they'll have a better chance if it was like just playoff teams. But I mean, to get to the playoffs, you're gonna have to get through the whole season. So I don't know what, unless COVID comes back again this winter time. But I mean,
yeah, a resurgence of it can, of course, put a whole new twist on all of this. But I think the NFL would just shut it down before they try to do a bubble situation. Now, let's step back a little bit from the postseason. Let's talk about preseason real quick. How is COVID going to affect the preseason? Talking about shortening the preseason has been mentioned for years now, but I think COVID is really going to force the NFL to make that happen.
Yeah, so they'll definitely shorten the preseason. They're definitely not going to play 4. I don't know if it's going to be like 2 or 3 they're going to play. And like the restrictions within like the facility, I don't know, because when it's preseason, like they have 80-something players on the roster before they make cuts. So I don't know exactly how that's going to work. I don't know if they're going to try to like separate, the players with that. I know in the locker rooms they're going to have to be 6 feet apart. Like each locker is going to have to be 6 feet apart, so they're going to be separated in locker rooms. I know that. And yeah, I mean, we'll just have to. We still got a little while away from that, so we'll just have to wait and see. See how it really goes.
I mean, it's going to be around the corner here before you know it. I mean, preseason kicks off only 8 weeks from now. Like it's around the corner. It isn't that far out.
Oh yeah, it's around the corner. But I mean, the way this virus is moving, like it's like each week is something new about it. Like think about like 8 weeks before today. How different stuff was. I mean,
yeah, true. Now, I'm glad that you mentioned how, teams have upwards of 80, 90 players on the roster before they make cuts during the preseason. Once those cuts are made, the teams are shortened to 53. I have heard that they're looking into expanding the teams to 55 with the new CBA and with the virus. But still, that's still quite a bit of players. And week to week, all of those players are involved in some way. And on top of the normal roster of 55, typically there's 10 practice squad players. And it does appear that this year they're going to allow 12. So that means there's still going to be 65 to 67 players on the team. And mainly, on game day, only 11 play at a time. but during the week, teams typically practice, and it's unlike any other sport where you practice 5 times the amount that you actually play. But you're talking about over 60 players getting on a field to practice all week long prior to the game. I mean, do you feel like that's going to be normal in any way, or what changes can COVID cause to that schedule?
Actually, like actual on-field practices, I think like the only thing they could do is like limit full team practice, where it'll be more like 7-on-7 and you like, only like the linemen and stuff. I think like that's the only thing they'll be able to limit, but I mean, you can't. It's still football, so you can't really not have them all play together, full 11-on-11. So yeah, I think there's just gonna be more 7-on-7s. They're gonna be wearing some type of face shield, I'm assuming. But I mean, that's the only thing they could really do with on the field stuff.
That's going to have to be so difficult with, how do you not practice with your entire team and then expect to go out on the field and play with the entire team? Like, there's going to be mistakes made and things that are going to be issues that are going to arise, especially with younger teams and newer teams that don't have that chemistry the way teams that have been playing together for a long number of years.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Teams that are bringing back the same offensive coordinator and defensive coordinator and bringing back a lot of the same veteran players, they're definitely going to have an advantage going into this year.
Now, looking into testing, how do you think testing is going to go in the NFL this upcoming season?
I'm assuming it's going to be same with like the NBA bubble, because they said they're going to test them twice a day. So I'm assuming that's going to be the normal, twice a day.
That's what I heard too, and that seems a little excessive in my opinion. Like every Monday through Sunday, twice a day, these guys are going to get tested.
Yeah,
COVID.
I think that's smart, because if you get one guy, let's say if the quarterback get it, your whole team's gone for 2 weeks. So
I feel like true. Now, and so that must mean now it's easier for the NBA to say that with only a handful of players on the team, but an NFL team hits, like I mentioned, like upwards of 60, including the practice squad players. To test all of them plus coaches, you're going to need what? 200 tests a day?
Yeah, but I mean, I don't feel like that's such a hard thing to get now, because like we're so advanced on the testing compared to before. So like I don't think it's a big deal to get that many tests. So I think they can make it work.
Yeah, I mean, they may. I mean, they could. I mean, you're talking in the ballpark of 36,000 tests per team. Now, you multiply that by all the teams in the league. I mean, you're talking 1.1 million tests to operate the NFL this season, not including playoffs.
I feel that's the only option, I think, to me. What else are they going to do? Not test?
Yeah, I mean, no. I'm not saying not test. I mean, twice a day just seems excessive. Is once a day more realistic? Is 3 times a week more realistic? Maybe, the Monday after game day, midweek Wednesday, and then Friday or Saturday before game day. I don't know. I don't have the answer, but I do know that twice a day was, discussed, and that's a lot of tests for the size teams that we're dealing with.
Yeah, only because the NBA, they're going to be testing twice a day. So I feel like if the NFL tests only once a day, there might be some backlash on that. So I feel like just to cover themselves, they're just going to do it twice a day if they could get that many tests.
Right. I feel like the most important with the NFL is like coming in contact with another team. Like if you're like, you're not quarantined because you're with, your family and your team, but like coming in contact with the other team can allow it to spread throughout the league quickly. If someone on your team gets it, it might affect that team, and the team may suffer, but not being able to spread that to another team is important.
Yeah, and also they're not going to have the joint training camp practices how they did in the past.
Yep. But and that's a perfect segue into what I was about to bring up next. We will not have the joint practices, but you know what we will have that's joint?
What?
Hard Knocks.
Oh, yep, you're right.
Hard Knocks in L.A. We got the L.A. Rams and the L.A. Chargers. Man, to this day, I still want to say San Diego. Together. And it's the first time Hard Knocks is going to do a split team like this. How do you think this is going to operate, Ralph? They are playing out of one stadium in SoFi Stadium, but Hard Knocks are typically based on training camps, which they're in two different facilities.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like they're just going to... I feel like they wanted to do two. Did they decide to do two teams before or after COVID started?
I think they talked about it prior to COVID, but it was officially confirmed with the contracts finalized after or during COVID.
Okay. I feel like, I assume like maybe they want two teams just so they have like more footage because like, you know, things could be like they might not have like the full hours of like training camp, so like one team might not be enough. So I thought that might be the reason why.
Yeah, I didn't even think about that. Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, I mean, it kind of just worked in their or fell in their lap, like with the situation.
Yeah, and another thing is maybe they're just trying to build more of an audience with these two teams because I know with the Chargers, their fan base in LA, you know, isn't really high up, so you know anything helps with them.
Yeah, the Rams too. Like LA is a spot where you know you got to be good for people to come out and see and watch. There's just so much going on, and both of these teams definitely want to grow their fan base, and this is a lucrative market that could really, you know, bring in a ton of cash if they got fans that are more invested.
Yeah, like these two teams, are they even in the top 5 of LA sports teams right now?
I don't.
Definitely not the Chargers.
Maybe. I mean, no. Yeah. I mean, they're definitely going to need to work on that and build that. But I think both teams got a pretty good base, and they definitely got some stars. So I think both of them just need to find that quarterback and go on that run. Even though the Rams were just in the Super Bowl, like it didn't really feel like it. They were kind of under the radar, and like I still feel like McVay got more star power than Goff. You know?
Yeah, Goff doesn't really, you know. He's not really that much of a star quarterback right now. So, like, you know, but then when you don't have a star quarterback, you don't get a lot of publicity with it, with the media and everything.
Yeah. Speaking of star quarterbacks, let's talk about Lamar real quick. Lamar Jackson came out and said that the Titans caught us by surprise. Now, Rob, that's your boy. How do you feel about that?
I mean, I feel like that's not the main reason why they lost. The main reason was, like, you know, because, like, receiver drops, defense didn't play really well. So, I mean, I feel like just owning up to it, you know. I feel like that's a good answer to give. You know, they caught him off guard. He's not making excuses about anything. He's not blaming the refs or blaming anything else. So I feel like...
Yeah, I do like the ownership. But the ownership looks bad, don't it? I mean, you're in the NFL. You just watched a legitimate NFL team in the Patriots get beat by this team. And now they're coming into your house. And yeah, you're the number 1 seed. But, like, this was not a team to overlook, right?
Well, I feel like... I don't feel like it was they thought that team was bad. I feel like they were looking on to the Chiefs more. Like, they knew the Titans weren't a bad team. It was just... I feel like a lot of them were just looking forward to the Chiefs. And didn't have, 100% of the focus. I mean, like, that happens all the time in the NFL, I feel like.
Yeah, you're definitely right about that. What about him jumping over jet skis?
I mean...
he's living his best life.
I mean, what did you want him to do? Run through the jet ski? He jumped over it.
Well, no, I'm not saying run through it. I'm just saying this man has $40 million legs under him. $40 million. That's $20 million a leg.
Yeah, but I mean, you're a human. You're an athlete. You're not gonna. All these athletes out here still playing sports. It would just he just got caught on camera doing it. Patrick Mahomes last year didn't he get in trouble for playing basketball or something like that, or was that 2 years ago? I think that was last offseason.
Yeah, yeah, true, true. People look at these quarterbacks and they're like, or not just quarterbacks, but NFL players, and they're like, why are you doing anything else but playing football, right? Like, if you're getting paid millions of dollars, why do anything else? And sometimes the money makes them feel like they can just do anything else. But I see both sides. As a business owner, the owner of the team, I would be nervous. Like, man, what are you doing? You could risk all of this off of it, an accident, an injury that could have been prevented. But at the same time, you gotta go out there and have fun and live your life, right?
Exactly right. Like if you were a 23-year-old NFL quarterback making millions, and we all went to an island and we're playing football, what you gonna do? Sit and watch?
True. The injury just scares me, which segues again perfectly into another topic I wanted to bring up. There's a couple injuries that has happened, not on a beach and not involving a jet ski, but we got Deebo Samuel, the wide receiver of the Super Bowl losers, San Francisco 49ers. It's got injured. He broke his foot, right?
Yeah, he broke his foot. They said, well, he said that he tweeted out, "See you in 10 weeks." So the time frame's got to be within 10 weeks. I'm assuming. I don't know if that's when he's gonna be cleared or like be able to to return to practice or. But I feel like that's a big hit for them because without Debo, that receiving corps is not really strong. They got who will be the number one receiver?
Yeah, right. We have no idea what IU can do.
Yeah, so I don't really trust him being the number one receiver.
And even though he might have the athleticism and talent, he is going through an off season where you're separate. You're limited on what you can learn and pick up and do.
Yeah, this is a tough season for the rookies. They're not going to get a lot of preseason. They're not going to get a lot of practices. So, yeah, this is tough to be coming this year as a rookie with a big role.
And so there's also was another injury on the other coast, on the other side of the country. Brandon Brooks of the Philadelphia Eagles was injured as well, and his did seem to be more significant.
Yeah, he tore his Achilles. I'm pretty sure this is his second season-ending injury for him. But I feel like that's a big hit for them, because he's an All-Pro guard, so keeping Wentz upright and healthy is a huge role for them. So
yeah, I was just about to say he's one of the best in the league. Unlike Debo, Debo's good, don't get me wrong, but he's not Julio, Odell.
Yeah, he's not Julio, but I feel like he got a bigger role on the team, a more important role on the team right now, because of him. True. Just because Jimmy G, he besides Kittle, their receiving targets, isn't too strong, so that could change up the whole offense. Like with the Eagles, I feel like they're able to bring in a good enough player. They trade for a player not all pro, but close to a Pro Bowl player. I mean, I don't feel like it'll be that much of a hit, especially because they play guard and not tackle or center. So hopefully they'll be able to find someone to plug in.
So I have a question: which of the two is going to hurt their team more?
I feel like probably Brooks, just because he's gone the whole season. Because, Deebo Samuel, he'll be back. He might be able to be back week 1. I'm not sure about week 1, but early in the season, in the first couple of weeks, he might be able to be back, but, he won't be 100%. But, he's going to play most of the season, I'm assuming. Unless,
if he's 100%. Yeah, I was just about to say, if he's 100%, he may be back, but he may not be 100. You've seen a number of guys play through injuries that they're just not the same. You look at Amari Cooper. And who knows 100%, but the rumor was like he was hurt, and that caused for him not being on the field in a lot of big plays in a lot of big games, causing the Cowboys to lose a number of those. Same thing with T.Y. Hilton. Like he battled a very similar injury in his foot that limited his amount of time on the field and the number of games that were played, and ended up ultimately causing games to be lost.
Yeah, he definitely won't be 100% once he get back. But I mean, even if he's like 80, 85, he'll still be there. He'll still be able to make some plays. But I mean, Burks is going to be gone the whole season, no matter what. So like, if they can't find a good replacement for him, that's going to be a huge hole in that offense for the whole season.
Yeah, but the 49ers are in a division with McVay and the high-flying Rams, and then you got the Russell Wilson and the Seahawks and them boys, and then you got the newly, tag team Fitzgerald, D Hop, Kyler Murray, Cliff Kingsbury show in the desert. I mean, that division is scary, and looking at the NFC East, like ain't nobody scaring me in there.
Yeah, 49ers definitely got a tougher division, but I feel like the 49ers overall as a team, they're a little bit better than the Eagles. So, if you can't keep wins upright, the defense isn't as good as the 49ers defense, so they're not going to be able to hold teams. So, Eagles are going to have to put up points. So.
Yeah. Well, there's one player I want to mention and bring up is Jamal Adams. He wants out of New York. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, so I don't know why the Jets don't want to pay him now, which don't make sense to me. So I feel like they have to trade him, because the whole thing started was when Jamal Adams talked to the ownership of the Jets, they said they weren't trying to trade him. They weren't going to trade him. But then he found out that they were taking offers for him, so that's how the whole thing started. So he wanted a new contract, and they don't want to give it to him, which don't make sense, because like, he's your best player. He's probably the best defensive player in the league, arguably. And you're gonna have to what?
You only field offers because you're trying to move them, or you only prolong the contract because you're trying to move them, because you don't want to set them up in a contract that a team doesn't agree with that is willing to trade for them, and have the trading team use the contract against you in the trade. Like, oh, I'm not looking to give you that much equity draft pick wise because of the amount of money we're going to have to give him. Like, you want the player to come, you want to trade for the player to then negotiate contracts on your terms as the new team acquiring said player.
Yeah, exactly. So, I don't know what the Jets are waiting for. It's not like they got like a whole bunch of talented players to play. He's the best player right now. So,
yeah, that's what's crazy. And as a player on the Jets, like if me and you were in uniform in New York right now, I would be losing my stuff. Like, man, like who you trading Jamal for? Like, even if you get all these draft picks, I might not be here by the time these draft picks get here. Like, we're trying to win now. Right now, we got a young quarterback on a rookie deal who we can go out and spend money on, and instead, we're not trying to spend the money. We're trying to save it for who? For who? Who's walking through the door? What free agent are we about to sign?
Exactly right. Like, I don't understand like the thought process on this. So, if you ask me, I feel like he's not going to end up getting traded, because no one's going to give up what the Jets would want just to get him, because it's going to be a lot. So I feel like he's just they're going to end up coming to a deal eventually, I think.
You think they're going to come to a deal, or they're just going to let him play out and then franchise him?
Well, this is only his third year, correct?
This upcoming year? I believe so. So he's going to need, after next year is when extension talks will happen, or franchise tag talks will then begin, right?
Yeah, so like he's still got a few years. So like, yeah, I don't see him getting traded. At least this offseason.
we're in a situation right now where he's not happy, and a player that isn't happy isn't necessarily a player that's going to benefit the group, the culture, and what you're trying to build on. Especially or maybe they're not trying to build. Maybe they're just trying to hit the reset and reboot, which I don't understand because you got your quarterback who you believe in and you think it's the future, but you're not helping him whatsoever. And I mean, is Gase the coach? Like, is he the guy? Or if he's not the guy, then what are we waiting on?
Yeah, I feel like because of Sam Darnold, him being out so much of last year, it's kind of hard to tell about Gase. So I feel like this is the year like they're gonna really see. So I think
and it sounds like I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say like I feel like Jamal he's gonna end up playing this year with the Jets because I don't see him sitting out a whole year and just not playing football for a whole year.
Yeah. I don't think he's going to hold out either. But he did say like he lists a list of teams that he would want to go to, and they're all contenders. Like he just wants to win. Like I don't think he has like a bad attitude or anything. He just wants to win. And if New York is that place, like he's going to be happy playing there. But like the teams he wants to go to, Baltimore, the Chiefs, the Cowboys. I mean, he just wants to win and play some real meaningful games.
Yeah, he's not. He just want to be part of a contending team because a lot of people don't really know how good Jamal Adams really is, but because how bad of a team he's on. But yeah, if he's definitely want to go to a team where that's a contender, he get seen more because once people really see him play, they're gonna because right now like Aaron Donald is like the best defensive player, but he's better than I think he's the best to me in my opinion.
Yeah. So my next question for you was where do you think he's going to go? But you already said you think he's going to stay there in New York, huh?
Yeah, I think he's going to end up staying in New York this season. But if I had to pick a team, it'll probably be the Texans. So the Texans or the Cowboys, because all the other teams, I don't feel like they're going to give up enough to get him. Because he's...
Yep.
Because without including players, I feel like you got to give up at least a first and a second, at least maybe 2 first-round picks. So I don't think like the other.
And there's only 2 crazy enough GMs to do it. That's trash ass Bill O'Brien and the owner who does whatever, Jerry Jones.
Yeah, exactly. Because I'm thinking so. Like for the Cowboys, I'm thinking let's say. I don't think they'll give up just the draft picks. I think they might give up one of the receivers, maybe like Amari Cooper or Michael Gallup. That's what I'm thinking. Them, one of those players paired with the draft pick because you just need receivers. And you know how what the Cowboys did with Cooper, you got to get him a good receiver to see how good he really plays. So I feel like that's what the Jets might have to do for Sam Darnold, get him a number 1 receiver. So and then that or the same thing with the Texans. The Texans they got 4 solid receivers, none are really like a superstar, so I feel like they might try to package one or 2 of those receivers to try to bring them in.
Wouldn't that be something you go and get when everyone wanted you to go wide receiver in the draft with whether it was Ruggs or CD or Judy, and you end up going lineman, who also was a need. I'm not knocking the pick. But then you turn around and maybe trade Adams for like someone like Amari. Like Amari's better than all those guys, right? That would be something.
Yeah, if they could, because Amari's on a huge contract, and I feel like he doesn't really deserve that contract. I feel like that money would be better spent elsewhere. So I mean, if they get out of that contract and bring in Jamal Adams, I think
absolutely. I felt like Dallas was forced into that contract only because they gave up so much draft capital to get him. They didn't want to then just let him walk. You couldn't just let him walk. Like you would get ripped. Like you had to pay him.
Exactly. So like the only bad thing about that, like they won't have really the receiving corps won't be as strong as it was, last year because you bring in a rookie, especially with this offseason. Then Michael Gallup, he's a good player, but he's not like a proven number 1. So that's the only scary thing about that.
All right, now you're selecting teams that you feel will happen just based on the situation, but where will be the best option for Jamal?
the best option for Jamal, I think, either the Chiefs or the Ravens, just because the Chiefs, they got the high-powered offense, and then bringing in a playmaker like Jamal Adams, that'll be huge for them because they already got Tyrann Mathieu, and Jamal Adams. He plays like he could play linebacker, he could rush the passers and everything. So
I was just about to say, don't him and Honey Badger like play the same position? Like, is that going to work?
Yeah, I feel if you had 7 Jamal Adams on one defense, you'll take it because just the way
yeah, it'll work. You'll make it work, right?
Yeah, you'll make it work. Like Jamal, he's pretty much he's what people think Isaiah Simmons is going to be, but smaller and less fast.
Yeah,
he could do everything. He could rush the passer. He could play linebacker and everything. But I feel like the Chiefs need him more than the Ravens do because the Ravens are. I already think they got the best secondary in the league. So I don't even know who would like
where he would. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Like he'll fit, of course he'll fit, but the Ravens aren't going to give up. Not going to. They already got a solid defense and secondary, so not going to give up anything crazy just to try to make one of their strong suits better.
Yeah, I hear that. Last question on this topic here. Where is red flag, stay away, hang up the phone, get out of Dodge? Where should Jamal avoid?
Where should he avoid? I feel like he should definitely avoid out of the teams he listed. Are you talking about the whole? Okay, out of the teams he listed, probably the Texans, because
that's exactly who I was gonna say.
Yeah, the Texans. Yeah, definitely the Texans, because
avoid Houston.
Yeah, they're definitely the worst team out the group. Just because the way they treat their players. I mean, they overplay some players, but they get rid of some players. I wouldn't really trust their front office.
Yeah, true. Yeah, because their front office is the coach. Like, you piss him off, you're going to be shipped out like D-Hop to who knows where. It's crazy. I still can't believe he's still running the show. All right, Rob. So before we conclude here, I just want to thank everybody again for listening to us. We are on iHeartRadio, iTunes, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, you name it, and we're on it. Thank you for checking in. Please leave us a review. Rate us at 5 stars if you can, or whatever you feel. We're not biased or anything. But we do appreciate it, and please shoot us a DM on either Instagram, Twitter, and we'll love to answer your questions here on the show. Especially right now, we need a little bit of content, so go ahead and ask us anything, and we'll share our thoughts. But before we conclude, Rob, I got a question for you.
Let's hear it.
I saw something here on Good Morning Football. That's my show. Burleson, Kay, Kyle, I love you guys. I'm going to list a number 4 coaches who never lost against Tom Brady.
Okay.
Zimmer, Peterson, Rivera, or Reich.
Wait, so one of them haven't lost?
One of them has never lost against Tom Brady. Is it Frank Reich in Indianapolis, Ron Rivera, who's been in Carolina, Doug Peterson of Philly, or Zimmer in Minnesota?
That's a tough one because I don't even know how many times.
I know.
Just because it's a different conference, so I don't even know how many times they played. I can't even think.
No, I heard that. I was like, man, I don't even know.
If I have to guess, I'll probably say Zimmerman.
No, it's my man Riverboat Ron. Ron Rivera.
And what's his record?
In Washington. I don't even know. So we will go back and look into that to find out exactly what I think. I think it was only a few times that they played. Unlike the Dolphins or the Jets, who played Tom Brady twice a year.
Oh yeah, I should have said Ron. I remember that one game they where Cam beat them, and then they were arguing in the end zone. I don't know if you remember that. It was like a Monday or Sunday night game.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's man. So
what was that? 2 years ago.
That was a pretty good question for me. And hey, now that Tom's in Tampa Bay, and you got Rivera in Washington, they're probably going to cross paths here before it's all said and done. So we'll see.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah,
we will see.
Oh yeah, we'll see.
So. All right. Well, thank you all again. That concludes our show. Catch us next week, and please fish us some topics here on the DFS.